Morning.
Good morning,
sir.
Julius.
I'm Julius from China Diamond Yearbook.
Yeah.
I'm here to interview with some questions about general market situation and the initiative of NDC.
Yeah. Delighted to see you again.
Yes, very good to see you again. And my first question is, what is the general market situation for diamond industry in late 2023 and this year, especially in US, China, and India, and Europe?
Yeah. So there are times when the markets are all very similar, and all the markets around the world behave in a similar pattern. That's not one of the times we're in now, with each of those markets behaving in very different ways. So if I start with the biggest market, which is the US, more than 50% of diamonds are sold in the US. Even that market is very split. In that market, there are two very distinct audiences. You've got at the very high end, you've got consumers that are buying from wealth. They are wealthy people. Wealth has done very well in this economy. People with money have made more money. The stock markets are at record highs in America. And so that audience is still buying a lot of diamond jewelry, and that is reflecting in natural diamonds. It's reflected in the high-end independent jewelers. So that market's doing very well. In the mid-tier, it's different. In the mid-tier, where consumers are buying from income and disposable income, they've been much more squeezed by inflation, by cost of living increases, and so for them, it's been a tougher time. Those retailers tend to be mid-tier retailers, tend to be mall retailers. They've also suffered from a slowdown in engagement rings in, post the COVID pandemic, and we see an uptick of that starting to happen. So even the US market can really be split into two very defined markets. If I move east from the US to the next biggest market, which is India, India market is doing very well at the moment. It's a market that is, the economy is doing very well. Again, the stock market is doing very well there. So again, the India market is performing very well, probably the fastest growing market in the global markets at the moment. And then obviously to China, where the economic slowdown is probably hurting the diamond industry more than any other market. And that's really been happening for a year and a half to 2 years. I think there was a high expectation that after the end of the pandemic, that the China market would boom in the same way that the markets in the US and India did, and unfortunately that didn't come to fruition. So the China market is still steady, but it's not performing at anything like the pace that the other markets are performing at.
Mm-hmm. What is the main contribution? The factors which makes India the second largest market right now instead of China?
Yeah, I think the economy is doing very well there at the moment. There's a lot of inbound investment that's happening in India in all sorts of industries. So there's a lot of investment that's happening there. Again, the stock market's doing incredibly well at the moment. So it feels like India, that for so long has had a significant potential economically and for the diamond industry, is now we're starting to see that potential to be realized. So it's really just the confidence in the economy. A growing middle class in India also makes a significant difference. As you know, it's a significantly large population that's there. It's a very interesting country, lots of different cultures within India itself. And so, we're starting to see that economy really start to grow, and confidence in the diamond jewelry sector growing with it.
Mm-hmm. So it doesn't happen overnight. It takes many decades to develop the market, for the market to develop.
And it's probably 15 years ago since the BRIC term was coined for Brazil, Russia, India, China, when all of those four economies were seen as the new booming economies. Probably of those, only China really boomed as everyone thought it would do. So I think it's as you said, it's a matter of time. The circumstances have to be right, conditions right.
Yes.
But I think in India now, we're now starting to see that as being the next one of those four economies that's really going to be booming.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So how is NDC working with diamond manufacturers, wholesalers, and retailers to adapt to the new market situations?
Yeah, so our mission is to inspire consumers with the values and beauty of natural diamonds. So we both do that directly ourselves, directly onto social media platforms. But as importantly, we work with partners throughout the industry. And depending on where they are in the value chain determines how we work with them. So for example, retailers are speaking directly to consumers. So the partners that are working directly with consumers, we're sharing our campaigns, they're promoting our campaigns, we're helping to educate the sales advisors in the stores. So that's a very one step removed from the consumer. So the retailers, the press, they're a very important part of our relationship with consumers and inspiring them with natural diamonds. With the partners throughout the industry, so with the value chain, with wholesalers, with diamond manufacturers, with our member companies who are fundamental to the Natural Diamond Council, again, we do a lot of work with them through promoting the values of natural diamonds through the value chain. We also provide a lot of reports for the industry that gives the data about how the industry is performing and the social impact of diamonds in the industry. They also invest in us to give us the financial resources to be able to do this role that we perform. So everybody in the industry has got a part to play. So it's we all have the same common goal of to inspire consumers with diamonds. And so everybody has a part to play, but it differs depending on where each company is within the value chain.
Yeah, and I think the retailer, especially the retail associates, are the ultimate person who influence the buyer's final decision. And how do you intend to work with retailers, especially in this education of the retail associates, to help them to sell more natural diamonds in a correct way?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. We estimate way over 90% of natural diamonds are still bought in bricks and mortar stores. And that's even despite the pandemic, when clearly a lot of transactions moved to online. But it just shows the consumer needs to and likes to speak with a retailer that they trust. So you're absolutely right. The sales advisors in the stores are fundamental to educating and inspiring consumers. And the challenge of our industry is that outside of China, that it's a very fragmented retail market. Lots of independent stores, lots of smaller stores. So it's a lot of different people. It's a huge network of tens of thousands of retailers all around the world. So what we're doing in those markets is we're coming together with other partners in the industry to try and achieve our goal there. So by providing education materials, by working with manufacturers and wholesalers who speak to those retailers, by working with people like the GIA who are renowned for their educational materials. But the big difference is that we're all coming together to do that. It's not just the NDC, it's everybody coming together. We all agree that having better informed, better educated natural diamond professionals in stores makes a significant difference. So the opportunities for us all to come together. In the US, we start that next week in New York. We have a meeting and a dinner in New York with all of the partners. So we really want to make 2025 the year of education for sales advisors in retail stores.
Great. So it's like a collective effort to make the story straight. And
yeah, and we all agree what we need to do in this industry.
Yeah.
We all agree how we do it. The challenge is sometimes we all go off and do it ourselves and think that we can make an impact individually.
Yes.
And the reality is that doesn't work. So the reality is we all have to come together. We have to do it, use the resources that we've got, use the connections that we've got to come together and to do that as an industry.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting, I think, when, during these times when everyone is really looking at how we can seek out every opportunity in this market, this seems like a fairly good opportunity for us all to unite and say, here's how we're going to work together to a single common goal.
Yeah, okay. And after 2020, many retailers experimented selling natural diamond and lab-grown diamond in one store or in different channels.
Yeah.
How does that fare out for them? And have they changed their mind because of the price of lab-grown diamond dropped dramatically?
Yes, as the saying goes, follow the money. Around 2019, 2020, margins on lab-grown diamonds were very high for retailers, and that's both the percentage margin and the dollar margin. So retailers were clearly incentivized to sell lab-grown diamonds. They clearly incentivized the sales advisors to sell lab-grown diamonds. So even though we knew that was going to be a very short-term behavior because of the inevitable price crash of lab-grown diamonds, retailers in the US particularly still did it. I think the retailers in Asia were much more sensible. They looked at the long-term prospects and stayed away from that. But in the US, a lot of them went for the short-term option, which was profitability in the immediate future. Where that now plays out is that the dollar margin that they're able to make on a lab-grown diamond is less than on a natural diamond that's there. So that fundamentally changes the retailer business model. Generally, traffic in stores doesn't change one way or the other, so it's not like you can make up for that lost margin by more traffic and lowering prices. But lab-grown diamonds have now crashed by 90 to 95% from their original price, and will go further because retailers in the US are still holding up that price to a certain extent. They're still keeping it at a higher price than really normal margins would happen. So we're seeing a lot of retailers in the US now saying, we need to change our business model. Maybe they'll still sell lab-grown diamonds, I don't know if they will, but fundamentally they need to change their business model back to selling a much higher ratio of natural diamonds. And to do that, they need to incentivize their staff to do so. They need to through us, help educate the staff to sell natural diamonds again. But that's the biggest structural shift that's happening in this market, and I think that will be very quick. I think it's as soon as the financial model changes, behavior changes. So I think we'll see a fairly quick change in that dynamic in the biggest market for lab-grown diamonds, which is in the US.
Okay. So you think this trend of selling lab-grown diamond in retail, it comes quickly and will go quickly?
Yeah.
So it's only a matter of a few years. And
oh, yes.
It goes up and down.
Yeah. I mean, a few years might be longer than it takes.
Okay.
When you think how quickly lab-grown diamonds penetrated into the US market, I think the reverse will happen as quickly because the financial model has changed.
Okay.
So I think lab-grown diamonds will continue to be sold in lower price jewelry groups like Pandora and Swarovski, and for them it elevates their brand, so I think it's a good strategy for them. But I think in the traditional diamond jewelry trade, I say the financial model really doesn't work, and retailers will either have to close stores or they'll need to make this shift to rebalance the mix of natural diamonds there.
Good. And in my opinion, the small to medium jewelers are very vulnerable to all kinds of crises because they don't have the access to financial resource. They need much more help from bigger institute.
Yeah.
How can NDC help them?
Yeah, so I'd look at it slightly different. For me, it feels like the smaller retailers are more nimble. So they're able to make changes more quickly, whereas larger groups of retailers that have large organizations, it feels like it takes them longer to be able to execute and make changes in how they're doing business. How the NDC can help them is that clearly in the digital platforms, through our advertising campaigns, through our social media assets, providing them with the facts and the information about natural diamonds and the positive impact that they make, through education modules for their sales advisors. So really the Natural Diamond Council helps support them with all of the assets they need that they can't produce for themselves. So we're a very important part of the overall retail and industry platforms because those are assets that generally they can't get from anyone else in the industry.
Good. And how will NDC adapt its strategy to adopt to to cater to the younger generations because they are the most powerful and most important consumers in the diamond industry.
And we've really always been focused on the younger generations as the Natural Diamond Council. Because those are the generations that are coming into the jewellery market. They're the people that are most seeking information and understanding what they're buying. They're the most interested in understanding the provenance and the impact of what they're buying. So we've really always been focused on the younger generations, and clearly that was millennials and it's now Gen Zs. And the way how we go about that is all about digital. They are consuming all of their inspiration through digital platforms. They're seeking out all of their knowledge and education through digital platforms. So for us, it's about how we show up in all of these different areas. And it's very fragmented. People search all sorts of different platforms now to find the information. But for us, it's about how do we make sure we're showing up in all of these different places, wherever she and he go to find that, or wherever they seek inspiration around luxury purchases. That's where we aim to show up with our content, with our narratives, with our facts, and with our education.
Yes. And what is your major plan in 2025? What is major initiatives for NDC in the next year?
Yeah. So really kind of three key pillars. The first is to continue to inspire consumers through promotion, advertising, marketing, and just to tell the story of this beautiful gem that is natural diamonds. So we'll continue to do that, invest in marketing and promotion through all of the digital platforms that we just talked about. The second is education. Education is really critical for consumers and for the sales advisors in the stores, so education is a critical pillar. And thirdly is to bring on board partners. More partners to help expand that voice, so it's not just the Natural Diamond Council that's doing that role, but we bring on partners such as the grading labs like GIA, like the Shanghai Diamond Exchange, so we're all sharing in a common voice with the same shared values to promote this wonderful industry.
Okay. And there's one question, and gold jewelry, especially hard pure gold jewelry of 20 karat 4 gold, is very popular in China right now. Usually we don't set diamond into 24 karat gold.
Yeah.
That's a new metal that we can use to set diamond. Do you think this is a good phenomenon for diamond industry, or it is because gold is the gold market is about 60% of the market share in China?
Yeah.
It's going to help you with the diamond sales, or it's something against?
Yeah, I mean, the gold market in China and India works very differently from in the Western markets. In China, particularly where gold is seen as a storage of value, it's seen as investment, people are very connected with gold price because they see it both as a storage of wealth and something that, as an adornment, as jewelry. I think diamonds are different from that. I would say it as the reverse, really. It's something beautiful to wear. Diamond jewelry is something that you will treasure for your lifetime. You'll probably pass it on to your descendants. And so for me, diamonds are primarily a beautiful gem, a highly valuable gem, and something that holds its value over a long period of time. And despite short-term fluctuations in the prices, natural diamonds have proven to hold their price and actually grow over the last 30 years. So it's always an interesting dynamic in China, is the added dynamic of the financial value that people are much more aware of. As I said, in the US, people don't know the prices of gold and diamonds. They don't look at it in quite the same way. Mm-hmm. So I think it's very interesting what retailers are doing with diamonds and gold. So the innovations that they're creating to both use the increase in the gold sector, but also to add value through adding diamonds to the gold jewelry, to really give it that added sparkle, to turn it into a valuable piece of jewelry. So yeah, I mean, I'm really I'm inspired by how jewelers in China use these changing market dynamics to evolve the jewellery to really quickly respond to the consumer dynamics.
Yes, and in my belief, I think human has loved diamond for thousands of years, and in spite of all the crisis, wars, everything, it still come back. Diamonds still come back.
Yeah.
But how does what kind of suggestion do you have the China market to catch up with India right now?
Yeah, I mean, partly it's economic, and and we are not really able to influence the overall economic position. But above all that, it's about us inspiring consumers and making sure that consumers understand about natural diamonds, understand the positive impact they make, and also to make them culturally relevant. And by that I mean making them cool, keeping them desirable. You can be loved, but that's not always to say that if a consumer has $1,000 in their pocket, that they want to spend it on diamond jewelry. And so for us, it's really about inspiring the consumers. It's about inspiring them with the product. It's about inspiring them with the promotion that we do, the messaging behind it. So for us, it's really, as an industry, about continuing to invest and to inspire consumers with this amazing gem.
Thank you very much.
All right, it's a pleasure,
Yeah.
Julius. Lovely
Thank
to
you.
see you.
Thank you.